Welcome back to Kidded Podcast. My name's Toffee. I'm joined by my co-host Poro as we continue to talk Tarkov and figure out what makes this game tick. We're going to be joined by a special guest. UnfluffyBunny is back on the show. Last time we spent so much time asking him questions about how not to suck as a rookie. He never got a chance to talk about who he actually is or what he actually does, other than being yet another man with an impressive beard. So we're going to have him back in just a few minutes to talk to us about Tarkov. And also, I like him because he's willing to give hot takes. He wasn't wild about the recoil last time, Poro. I can't wait to see what he thinks about the RMT ban rumors that are running rampant. But before we get into that, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm fantastic. It's been a very busy week at the Poro household, but we managed to get our first online raid in, Toffees.
You got your first online raid in. I don't even want to wait. Can you just tell me a teaser? Did you survive?
Yes. Survived. Now I did. I caved and I brought backup. So we'll get into that.
You made friends. All right, this is exciting. Who'd you drag? Was it Godspeed?
It was Godspeed.
It was Godspeed. That's cheating. Godspeed's an ex-pro PUBG player for those of you at home. But you know what?
But he's also only level 6 right now.
Yeah, so. But he's I played a wipe. Godspeed started with me, and I watched him evolve, and I don't play with him anymore because he's too fucking good. It's like playing with Dill Hero at this point, those guys. We'll get into that in a second. So he basically tied you to his ass and dragged you to the map. I love that. We'll get into it in just a second. I'm just going to go ahead and bring Bunny in here if you're cool with that, Poro, so we can just start chatting, catch up on what's going on in Tarkov right now. So let's grab him and get him in here. I got all these cool screens we can slide over to. What's up, UnfluffyBunny?
What's going on, gentlemen? I'm glad to be back. I'm excited.
I'm glad to have you.
Hearing about your first raid and you survived it on live, even though it may have been a carried service. Some might call that boosting, but we'll talk about
carry, that. But there may have been some carry going on.
Fair,
maybe.
Fair. All right, so Fluff's here. We're going to talk a little bit about your stream and stuff. We're going to make sure we do that, but we like to keep the show short, 30, 40 minutes at max. I promise for those of you guys driving to work, etc., we'll make sure you get out of here in due time. So let me ask you, as the guys on the show, what are you more excited? What do you want to talk about first? We can talk about the chaos and the drama, and we're not going to get super into the drama, just the reality of the RMT ban situation. We also have the patch notes that just came out this weekend, which I'm sure will be, by the time the show comes out Monday, will be readjusted as well, but we'll give you the basics of those. Or Poro's first raid. These are the captions. If I had a survey I could throw up on the screen, I would. If you're watching live in chat, because remember, we do tape the show live on twitch.tv/ToffeesTV. You can tune in and see how the sausage is made. That did not sound great when I said it, but I said it. And then the show comes out on Monday. So we're here on Thursday nights taping generally. Do you have a preference, Poro, on what we talk about first?
I'm ready to go with my story whenever, and I'm very interested to hear about how unfair it is that people are getting banned for things.
Things.
Yeah, I'm very interested to hear about that. I'm not super. Obviously, I'm new here, right? I'm the new guy. So I'm very curious to hear the stories about how it is and give an outsider, somewhat of an outsider perspective on that, because, man, cheat bans are always hot discussion topics. So
it is.
I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Let's jump right into that then. Let's just get it out of the way. Okay. So that that's what people are tuning in for, the drama bites. We'll give it to them.
Everybody loves drama.
And I'll start with this. I've been covering pro esports across the board for a while. I think, Poro, you have as well. Fluff, you've been watching. And I will say to always use caution when bans come out against streamers and pros, because it's very easy to jump to, there's no way they are that good. And a lot of times they are. But do you remember Texas, Poro, back in the day on PUBG? It was a pro who was not necessarily, as far as I can tell, was proven doing it in competition, but maybe was using something to, and quote, make my streams more entertaining, right? We've known streamers who've done things like use some radar to find a fight, but not win the fight. The problem is, where you start is where you end. If you download a hack, you are an asshole, period. There's no way around it. So, Bunny, can you give me like cliff notes? Because I know that you're more integrated into the scene than we are in terms of knowing the people who are involved. So is there a cliff notes version of why is everyone so mad?
Yeah, so the TLDR is this content creator. I'm not going to name names. It's easy for you to go out and find people because I'm not trying to bring that kind of heat. But a content creator was banned for what BSG they haven't come out and said it, but it's alluded to that it was RMT / boosting of some kind. That's normally a 60-day ban with them and a full-on account reset. This person was kind of dubbed that they may have been doing that, and they thus received the ban. A lot of people have come to the defense of this person because they are a very good player and said, why would you guys all of a sudden start enforcing this ruling and stuff like that? They're a streamer. They've had 10,000 hours. They just play nothing but on stream. How are you proving this? There's a lot of drama with this. I, of course, as always with hot takes, am on one side of it. That does not seem to be the side that a lot of others are on.
You know, I think that's why you're on the show with me, because I'm on the other side. I think I'm on that side as well. And I'll just give you my hot take. I'm the host, so I have to take the heat for everybody else. You know, Poro gets off scot-free because he doesn't even know how to like get to level 4. So as the host, we could sort of say this, but at the end of the day, the terms of service say if you are gaining an advantage through something that others are not, whether that is trading, getting around flea market, whatever it is, that is in violation of TOS and is responsible for the ban. Now, this brings up viewer kits. That's something that's been really discussed, I think, during this whole ban phase. And for those of you who don't know, a viewer kit, and Poro, I don't know if you've watched enough, like they don't do it as much as they used to, but it's a very popular thing because you can lose so much stuff in this game and kits are so hard to come by. People would donate or use points from channels for streamers to get into a game with the streamer and donate a kit or a loadout for them to play with. Normally, those kits are middle of the road because average players are average players and they can't afford $10 million loadouts. They give it to the player. They give it to the streamer. The streamer then shoots them in the head and goes on to play the match in the kit. And it's usually goofy stuff, always fun. That was the inception, right, Fluff? But it didn't stay that way. We started to see kits that were literally people sort of trying to flex how much they had in game and show off with their streamer.
Yeah, see, so this is where the crux of the problem comes from for a lot of people. BSG on, you know, their issue is that they are combining, whenever you look at these bans, RMT / boosting as one thing. When in reality, these should be two completely different terms and both have their own set of stuff.
Right.
So when we're talking about viewer kits realistically are fun kits. You have them with your viewers and they bring you the dumbest gun that is physically possible in the game sometimes. They'll have it where there are 75 flashlights somehow mounted onto a weapon with no sight and you're supposed to try to get a kill with this thing. Like, they're a good time.
It's a fun time.
It's a fun time. The problem arises though because you could and this is where I have a different opinion on a lot of this stuff, because a lot of people are pointing to viewer kits. Well, how many can I have? When am I going to get banned? And they want all of these things. And it's like, there's a discretionary point where you have to be an adult and not necessarily have to have everything laid out to you like an elementary school child. You know, you don't have to have them telling you exactly everything. You have to be able to use what we like to call, if you have an elementary school child, they are learning stuff called context clues. And I think the problem is a lot of adults have forgotten how to use the context clues of what is acceptable and what's not.
I think that and I would go farther to be the asshole here. And Poro, we've watched pros for a long time. I'd say they've gone beyond pretending that they're not understanding context clues. They're just seeing how far they can push it and then getting mad when things don't necessarily go their way.
Exactly.
I mean, Poro, in your experience, are high-level players usually making the best decision for the community, or does it tend to center around what's good for them at the time? What do you see from high-level players?
I mean, I think it kind of varies a lot, and it's very depending on the game too. I mean, I remember, this is not Tarkov related, but I remember when Lost Ark first came out. and everybody was like super pissed at these, you know, mega streamers like Shroud and Josh OG, because they had whole communities that were in their like clans or whatever, and they were constantly like that was they were taking over the whole servers, the PvP servers, because they just had people that were just funneling all this stuff into them, and it's ruining the game for everybody else. So I think as long as whatever you're doing doesn't affect or impact people that have no say in the matter, then it's fine. But if you're taking these, like, you know, obviously like goated kits from you know, viewers, and then going in and just and wiping out other players in there that had no say in you know what the whole thing, then that's not cool. But I mean, if you're doing the crazy stuff like you're talking about, I mean, like you said, context is huge, right?
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, it's your fucking stream, dog. Like, you're the one that has things riding on this. So like the viewers are going to try to do whatever they want. Like, you have to be the one, you have to be the final line in the sand that says, you know, okay, this is something I'm willing to do versus this is something I'm not willing to do. And if the final line comes down to you trying to argue with the fucking dev over whether or not it's appropriate or not, then you're already crossed that line, dude. Like, that's you've already gone too far. Now, in fairness to the streamers, though, I will say, if this just kind of came out of nowhere and there was no indication that it was going to happen beforehand, there's no warnings, no anything, and it's just something that's been going on for a long time, then I kind of have I have a little bit of more empathy. But at the same time, again, it's your decision at the end of the day, so you've got to take that L.
All right, I don't want to stay on this subject too long, Fluff. So any kind of response or final thoughts, sort of just what's going on right now?
Well, I mean, and that's the biggest issue is like, and this is where I will agree with you, like on the empathy thing. Like, this is something that BSG had tweeted out and made apparent on the launcher 2 years ago. A lot of people have joined, and that's the argument. They're like, you guys have not explicitly enforced this thing since you mentioned this over 2 years ago. And now people are it's being enforced, and people are being banned, and, you know, for 60 days. Now, I am a huge fan of, like, hey, if you would have given them a warning, or if you would have smacked their hand and said, hey, we're going to give you a 5-day ban, this is what you did, this was unacceptable, for future references, to give people an understanding. Because it's one thing to say you did something wrong, and tell me what I did wrong, versus you did something wrong, we're not going to tell you what it is, you should know and figure it out. Those are two very different things. And I think BSG does need to step up on the explaining, hey, this is what you do, this is what we're going to enforce, this is unacceptable. The biggest problem that I see, and the last thing I'll say, is the community is getting too hung up on certain wording and verbiage, and they are focusing on the wrong aspects of it and trying to make straw man arguments out of what we all inherently know is wrong versus right. And stop doing that, guys. Like, it was wrong. He shouldn't have taken billions of rubles worth of money. There is a level to it. There's an understanding that we can all make as adults, and you guys really need to lock it in.
And as players, I mean, like I said, Poro's a level 1. If he goes out with our boy Godspeed and he drops him a mini meta M4 and a level 5 armor, no one's going to care. If you're getting dropped 7 slicks, if you're flea marketing around a $25 million labs card, and you're trading a CODM for it, like, you know that you're doing something that you need to reconsider. So we'll leave it at that. I will say this. It reminds me a little bit, anybody who's out there and lived for a while, you know, they made the announcement in the same way that old Nancy and Ronald said we're going to war on drugs a long time ago. And then when they couldn't stop the suppliers, they started to dragnet the users, hoping that that would stop. If there's no demand, there will be no supply. We learned that that just results in people who would never necessarily have gotten caught up in these dragnets getting caught up in the dragnets. And that's what we're seeing. People who maybe didn't really, like, you know, I had a buddy who did use Discord trading, and I was like, you need to stop that, because that is working around the flea market mandatory. And for 2 years, that's been fine. But once that dragnet changes, people are going to get caught up on it, and you're going to lose your account. So that is 100% a Boomer reference. And it is,
Bro,
I'm a millennial making
that
it because I
is-
grew up in that. Like I studied that
is
period growing up.
extremely boomer. Like you're really reaching to the depths.
But it's
of...
accurate. It's the most accurate thing that I come up with recently because we are now seeing the ramifications of those unfettered dragnets picking up anybody with very limited rules.
Well, I mean, I think same thing, you know, with the Lost Ark thing. I think that you've seen it with some of the streamers in Rust too. Like anything where viewers can kind of influence like how easily you do with the game. I think you probably had the same thing with DayZ, right? Like
New World, especially. I think New World's one of the biggest examples
I
because
think New World
Asmon's
was what I meant
server.
instead of Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. New World was the one. But yeah, I remember Josh OG and Shroud, like they were getting lit up by the community in New World because they basically just fucked the entire server for PvP because of all the streamer loot that was coming in.
And again, they tried to say, here's servers where you can go do streamer on streamer on streamer. But the people who chose not to were the ones who were sort of fudging with the rules. And we'll leave that. I will say this, just measured response. Reddit is always a cluster of pile-on. It is what it is, but I don't think it's quite what you guys are seeing. There's a couple of videos out there I've started to show it, but reserve judgment. Because I'll tell you what, more information always comes out, and things change pretty dramatically. Like, all these posts about it's just about the cash. Like, I would caution that because I think we'll be surprised with where things are going. All right. Move to the next thing. We'll do patch notes last because we're just going to kind of slam through that. And it's going to change anyway. So let's check in with Poro's journey into Tarkov. When last we checked in with Porosaurus, he was but a level 1 who had never entered raid. He was a scared little Timmy.
Indeed.
Learning scav pathing. You were studying Shoreline. Would you like to tell Fluffy Bunny about how you hate him for telling you to go to Shoreline instead of Woods? I think that was last episode. You brought that up. So I brought him back so you could give him a piece of your mind.
Yeah, I'm curious about this.
I mean, look, I was enjoying Shoreline, and then I started doing Woods. I kind of liked Woods a little bit more, just personal, like preference wise. But I could also understand why it would be a little bit rough. The thing I think I liked about Woods a little bit more was just the fact that they're the hills, and it felt like you could kind of work between hills and valleys and little defilades and all this stuff and just kind of avoid LOS. And I don't know. Both of them were scary. All right. But then when it came down to brass tacks, you know, I did not seek out my buddy Godspeed.
Okay.
I did not seek him out. He actually hit me up just randomly one night and was like, "Hey, I heard you started playing some Tarky. You wanna get in and run a raid?" And I was like, you know what? I was like, I didn't really want to. I was like, you know, I'm like level 1 and I've never had an online raid before, right? Like, I am gonna be like the biggest baggage for you. And he was like, I actually have not played it all this wipe. I'm level 4 or something at the time. Like he'd only gone in like a couple of times. So he's like, you know, I you know, given that it's getting close to about where mid wipe is for most people, like going in by yourself as a Bambi is probably like just an exercise in futility. Like especially if you're just going to do like the first things. And so I was like, you know what, all right, let's do it, let's run it real quick. So the first thing that my first 20 minutes, which was awesome by the way, was spent just inspecting shit to get to level 2 so that I could unlock the mission to go get what's his name as the last Jaeger.
Later.
There you go.
Yep.
So
that guy, he's an asshole.
that was a lot of fun, just sitting there just spamming my middle mouse button and examining things. But yeah, so we ended up going in there. He went in with just like a build. I think he was fairly light. He did have a scoped rifle, and that was about it. I just went in with a pistol, no rig. You know, I brought in healing stuff he had me bring in healing stuff in my prison pocket, which is what I'm calling that. I don't know if that's that. I don't even know if that's what it's been called, but apparently that's.
Yes, it
okay,
is.
There's
excellent.
a term in Tarkov when you see something nice in game and you're like, "Oh shit, that's a rollie." Your teammate will go, "Shove it up your ass." Like that's literally what we say. There's a lot of things in this game that maybe get us in trouble one day, but for now we've floated past. So
Just put it all in your butt, man.
shove it
Just put
up
in
your
butt.
ass.
Yeah.
100%.
It's your prison pocket, but
Yep.
but yeah. So I went in with the pistol that I was bestowed upon buying the game. No helmet. I had a body armor. Just the pistol essentially, and some heals, and one extra clip, which I proceeded to immediately lose because I can't not spam reload anytime shots happen.
Can I pretend to be the viewers for a second?
Sure.
No, it's a magazine.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, sorry, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll
nobody
get that a
cares.
lot.
You're not
you
a
would
Navy
be
SEAL.
shocked.
You play Tarkov. Shut the fuck up. But
It's bad every time. No. It's a
clip is
magazine.
what civvies
There's
put
a
in
lot
their
of gun
hair.
enthusiasts who play this game, and they
Yes.
are very
Oh,
serious about
God.
terminology. Anyway, go ahead, Poro. We're just joking because
Nobody-
we faced it so many times. So that's
Like,
fine.
nobody likes gun weebs either. So just stop being weird. Anyway, so I
don't
went in with my pistol, and we got the spawn kind of right by the bridge, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a little shooting going on around the bridge. We quickly crossed the bridge and just ran, and I was just going to retrieve the note for Jaeger. Like that was our whole intent going in there.
Yeah, long
got
run.
to the note. Yeah. Got to the note fairly quickly, fairly easily. Didn't see anybody. Went to go pick up the note. Forgot that you had to. I don't know why I decided to left click. To try to pick up the note, but I did, and so I shot something, and then I picked up the note, and then I reloaded, dropped my magazine on the ground. Didn't feel like looking for it again, so I'm going. I had my pistol, and so I'm following. Dustin was great about it too. He was such a great like leader. He's like, okay, it's not that button. It's okay. Now we're gonna run, and so there's there's shots going on all over the place, and we did kind of got to the I'm trying to figure out. I don't know the best way to describe it, but there's like a wall. When we spawned at bridge, we kind of hugged the river, cut inside, and just kind of hugged the cliff side all the way. And there was like kind of another road that we crossed. There was a wall, broken down wall. On our way to the wall, we ran into a scav. I totally killed him with my pistol.
Nice.
And I picked up some stuff off of him. Got a new weapon, little SMG. And we were just kind of moving on, making our way downtown. Stopped at that one extract that's underground there. Did a little looting, a little light casual looting. He's basically just giving me orders, bossing me around in a very polite and nice way.
Yep.
And so we get to the wall and we stop down, and he's just kind of like, hold on, stop real quick. I think I hear something. And by this point, I feel like I'm on acid because I'm hearing literally everything with those stupid fucking headphones. Like, I don't know. Like, I had no idea where anything was. But I was hearing like car engines on the bridge from like a mile away. And I'm like, this is too intense, man. I need to figure this out. But, so we're sitting at that wall, and then all of a sudden I see a guy, and I'm like, hey, there's a guy here. I'm gonna shoot him. And so I unload him with the SMG, and Godspeed kind of goes around. And I don't know if it was a scav or a PMC. Godspeed kind of goes around the wall, finishes him off, and he's like, holy shit, this guy is kitted as fuck. And so Godspeed finished him off. Apparently he got some intel off of him. He got like he said the gun was basically what the hard meta gun is right now, like a 200K gun. The only thing it was missing was the ammo. So we got him, and then Godspeed, I guess, spotted out another one of his friends that was pushing us. There was grenades. There was everything. Everything was going wrong. I had no idea where these guys were. And so at a certain point, Dustin's just like, you know what? Let's just run.
Nice.
Let's just go. Let's just run. So he got to loot the first guy really quick, which is good because he knows how to loot quickly. I would have been just sitting in there forever, figuring stuff out. But he got in there, got all the good stuff off of him, and we started making our way back to the bridge extract for the car. We were almost there. He was stopping down to give me money because apparently you need money to take the car, which I didn't know that. But as we were doing so, we saw a player scav who we promptly dispatched of, and fortunately enough for us, player scav ATM had like 400,000 on him.
What?
And
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Picked that up and then we left, and that was it. And I had my first raid.
That's big.
It was very exciting. I will say when the shit really hit the fan around that wall, I saw the first guy. He says that apparently it was a team of 3. I never even saw the other 2. I have no idea where they were shooting from, I heard the grenade hit, but at that point I had not gotten used to these stupid fucking headphones. So I have no idea where that grenade was because it sounded like it was in my pocket, but it could probably be like 100 yards away. And when the explosion finally went off, I think it actually kind of was very, very far away. But yeah, that headphones thing, man, like I understand why they're so damn good. But holy shit, like you have to get some reps in because that is different, so much different than any other game.
Yeah.
Was it the GSSHs, like the 2-strap one, or
no idea?
Comtex. Probably Comtex.
I think Comtex. I think that's what I think. I had Comtex and Razors were the things that came with the package.
Razor's a little cleaner than the Comtex. If you can get up to Comtac 4s, it changes the game. But
the Comtex, it was like listening to everything through tin cans and string. Like it was awful. So that's definitely something that I'm gonna have to like start trying to get used to or work around because holy moly,
it's not as bad if you're not caught in constant chaos. Like the fact that you fought with Chad against 3 beef boys on, like, you know, that we call them thick boys. They were on their way out. They just probably took on Sturman. You know, those guys were, if they hit intel, that means they bopped the safes over at the mill. So like these were thick lads who carry 6 grenades per run. It's not my kind of people. It's Fluff's kind of people, I think.
Shout out to if your naming game is is Faded Than a Hoe. You just got roasted by a level like a guy who's his first raid and another guy who's like level 4 and had like an entry level gun. So and his buddy as well. So.
He brought trash talk, so like he really understands the basics of the game. And you learned a valuable lesson that Godspeed taught Fluff, which is I think sometimes you just run away. Like
yes.
Literally, my best tip for a starter is if you happen to drop a thick boy, chances are homies are coming. Put the gun in your second slot. I sometimes just throw my gun as I run because F it. And then whatever's in your backpack, I can guarantee is not as good as theirs. So just throw your backpack on the ground, put their backpack on, and that's it. That's all you need. And you know what? You'll probably walk out with 2 million worth of gear. Too often I catch rookies just laying there with their ass out to the wind, searching the backpack on the body. Never the play.
I will say this. I do want to throw this out there for anybody who's listening that happens to be new. One of the things that I think was very helpful, and I think you guys kind of told me this too, but when Dustin having me go through every single merchant and identify stuff for the XP. To then get that mission to open up Jaeger, that definitely felt like some insider knowledge, which I feel like everybody that's played a long time probably just knows, like that's what you do on the first wipe to get your first level. Like that's just meta. But for anybody who is new, definitely do that. And again, just take your time. Take your time. Be slow about it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I don't know if I would have ever been able to find that damn note if he hadn't known exactly where the hell it was, because that thing is like, it's like half in, half out of the like clipping out of the ground, and is the weirdest thing. But
Wait till Crapper sends you to customs, my friend.
Let me give you a tip because of the headphones, and a lot of people don't realize this or don't understand this. So when you go into the game again, go to your settings and instantly go to audio, right?
Mhm.
Take your overall volume from 100 and turn it to 80. So the audio in Tarkov is extremely weird and extremely buggy. I know it's weird, right? Like nobody would believe me when I said that the audio is buggy. What ends up happening is when you turn the audio down, it will remove a lot of the loud ambient noises, but not touch the critical movement noises of other people. So you won't be hearing the wind, and you won't be hearing all of these other things that you hear while you have headphones on. It will reduce a lot of that like crunching noise of your feet walking with the headphones that you're experiencing. But whenever things hit the fan and you need to know where people are, you'll still hear that audio crystal clear. Don't understand it, don't know why, but just turn it down to 80. It will help you a lot. It'll save your ears.
Also, I would say turn down your interface volume a little bit too, because that's the sound that, like, when you're going through filing cabinets and you're opening a bag and it's just like that. Again, drop that to about 80. I think I have that at 60, to be honest, because I don't want to hear me looting. I want to hear you sneaking up on me looting. But don't turn it off because you want to hear.
Just turn the
other people
music
looting.
off. Just turn the music off.
Yeah.
Every game that you play.
Well, this
ever,
one has like
just
3
turn the music
distinct
off.
like settings. So just interface down, and then that down as well. Overall, 80%. All right, we're at 30 minutes. We don't have a ton of time left, and we got to get through everything. So I want to give Fluff a chance to sort of talk about his stream and sort of like who you are, how long you've been doing it, and what your goals are from your stream. And then we'll talk a little bit more shop. I want to find out where you guys are in the wipe. We'll go over the patch notes very quickly. So Fluff, we got to meet you in episode 1. You gave us some tips and tricks, but who actually is the Unfluffy Bunny?
I mean, my name is Jonathan. First and foremost, I am a longtime content creator here on Twitch. I have been making content for about 4.5 years now. I started with League of Legends content. I switched over to Tarkov extremely early in my career, back when only crazy people played Tarkov. It was, I think, around August of 2018 was when I started playing Tarkov. Like, Interchange wasn't even a map yet. Shoreline had just gotten the resort, I believe, was like my first wipe. It was extremely early into the game, back when, like, if you didn't go in with a flashlight or night visions on the night raid, it was pitch black and you were dead. You might as well we had no healing animations. We couldn't put blacked limbs back on. So if you broke a leg at the beginning of the raid, you just died. You just were like, I'm leaving and restarting. I'm not walking this entire time. But I did Tarkov for quite a long time. I took a break from that. I switched over to GTA RP for a long time. I did that back on Family with a lot of the bigger GTA RP people, such as like PMS Proxy, Anthony Z. We were all on that server together before it closed down. They all went to No Pixel, and I was like, I want to go back into shooters. Joined back into Tarkov, got back into the community, reached out to Sigma Inc., who is the CEO, COO of Evasion. That's where I met Toffees. And I was like, hey, I would love to. She was like, do you want to be in an event? I was like, I would love to be in an event. So I got to play in my first ever event. I won my first round, lost my second round. I was like, that's a lot of fun. I want to cast this. And because I've always been in esports, it is one of my favorite things in the world is competitive sports in video games. I mean, I've been playing video games since my NES days, like 87, first Super Nintendo or first Nintendo, Mario Brothers. Like I go way back. I've touched at least every console once in my life. And so I was like, I love esports. I want to cast something. You're doing this. This is really cool. She let me cast a few times with her that season. And then it was like, hey, do you want to come on as the head caster and help grow this? And I was like, I would love to. I love this more than anything. So I took on the position with Evasion as head caster. I've been doing that ever since. Semi-professional chef. I like to cook a lot. I've worked in restaurants since I was 14. up until I went into IT, and then I've had a crazy long life that's been very short at the same time.
That's old. That's old man gamer stories, right? Like
Yep.
the journeyman, the multiple jobs, the experiences. That's just because we
Look, bro,
love things.
I was a ballroom dance instructor for a while.
Wait,
so
you were?
I'm right there with you.
Is this like
Wow.
Matt's eye? Are you making that shit up, or are you actually a ballroom dance instructor?
I taught ballroom dance,
Wow.
beginners ballroom dance for a year.
Wow.
I was actually in the dance studio on September 11th.
Oh,
You want to talk about you guys think esports is shady? You go.
Are
You
you going
want
with
to talk about
September
the
11th is shady
shadiest?
or dance?
No, no,
world?
no. Like the world of dance studios. Man, that is a shady industry. It's all about separating sweet little old ladies from their cash. But
I've learned that about a lot of industries because I worked as a chiropractic assistant when I was like 19 for a year and a half. And that's another one of those that it's like, it just seems like a way to get money out of people.
Honestly,
Like it makes you feel good.
One of the reasons I love streaming or like watching streamers is this the first time people have been honest about it, right? Like I've worked in a ton of industries and I'm like, we've been milking people for cash for decades. At least streamers are like, hey y'all, I would like your money, but I'll make a joke maybe, and then you can give it to me. So I respect the culture that we've created here of just brutal honesty of like, listen, you are throwing money into a burning dumpster, but it's our burning dumpster together. And people are cool with it, which makes me happy.
Yep. So I mean that's pretty much it. Yeah. And then like I've been trying to get into I've been doing Apex, Tarkov, all kind of content creation for all of those, really focusing on short form format. But it's pretty much it about me, man. Thank you. Like I appreciate it.
Well, hopefully we get a chance to cast together as time goes on. I've enjoyed what you guys have done at Evasion. They created this support. I don't know if you had a chance to watch any esports in Tarkov in general. Probably not, because there's not a lot of it. There's a couple of small tournaments, but they came up with like crazy. So at home, if you haven't watched one of these events, there's casters, there's sideline reporters, there's game hosts. There are what do you guys call them? Battle mods who are in every single group that travel with them, answer questions, give feedback to the reporters so that they can figure out who to go watch, because there's no observer tools. All we can do is sort of like jump to someone's stream. It's chaotic. It is honestly what has made grassroots esports beautiful across the board historically is like it's a bunch. I love Evasion because you're a bunch of folks who are just like, we like Tarkov. We're grabbing things by the bootstraps and we're going to figure this shit out. And I hope that continues. And I'm not just saying that because Evasion, produces this show. But I do appreciate that. And again, that's an Evasion example. I literally tweeted, there's not a lot of podcasts that I am watching right now for Tarkov. I think I'm going to make one. And they wrote and were like, hey, man, if you need graphics, if you need editors, like you let us know. We just want more Tarkov content out there. So big shout out to them for being supportive and just knowing the biggest way to build a game is to build a community and supporting that. Now, speaking of community, I got to go over the patch notes real quick, so I'm just going to jump right to it. It is good news, I guess. They reworked the player group system. All that you need to know at home is if you are like Poro and you are trying to go it alone most of the time, none of this matters to you. If you are like Poro and you are getting in a group for the first time, this is going to make your life a lot easier. Because in the old days, you had to join the group. You had to go to the searching screw. You had to sit there and stare at your characters until the rest of your team was ready to play. Now that's not the case. The leader has to sit there in that stupid queue and wait for everyone to get ready. But the rest of us can just sit in our hideout or play with our inventory, which is like game changer. And I can't wait to make Kush be the leader for everything going forward so that I can keep messing with my inventory. And that's exciting for me. So shout out to Kush. I got one of my 3 or 4 guys that I play with, since Poro is too scared to play with our crew. I got to stick with my old hats. Maybe I'll get him on the show one day to talk to you about how terrible I am at this game. What else? Co-op practice mode. I don't care about that. There's some raids you can do up to 20 people. I think that's a very niche thing. Maybe, though, implicates there's some PvE options coming out in the future, or some things that we might be able to do a little more intensely. This is a big one. If you are a rogue hunter, they have fixed bugs that allowed you to very narrow right peek scavs and not take fire. So if you get by on your little tiny Mosin peaks to try to farm yourself some rogues over on Lighthouse, it may not be as easy as it used to be. Also, I think those scavs over at Customs Bridge are going to get a little bit tighter because of this as well. The snipers are already a nightmare. Why not make the walking scavs a nightmare too? A couple of the hand freezes are fixed. Allegedly, and this is the big one, invisible players have been removed. But I've already got reports they're back. But apparently the number one thing that they were exploit that was causing it has been removed from the game. So you should see less of them. And there was another hot patch earlier today afterwards. There'll be another one this week, I'm sure, as they continue to work that through. And finally, and we know this is a problem because even Poro brought it up, the sound is incredibly difficult. They've updated the Oculus settings on sound as well. So I will say this. I played a little bit after the update, Fluff. I definitely heard a massive difference. In fact, I was confused for the entire first game because I had gotten so used to that, like, I hear a bush and it's on top of me, but no, it's not. It's like 60 meters away. And now it's actually sort of directional when you play Woods map. So I think that's a positive because before it was like you'd hear a bush crinkle and you'd be like, oh, I got to fight. And the guy's like literally 100 meters running off in the distance and you're pissed because you missed your chance to. I'm a rat. I need to hear my bushes. It's important to me. So that's
agreed.
the updates. Any takeaways from the patch notes, Fluff?
For me, the biggest thing is the audio changes. They only apply to my understanding is if you still have binaural on. If you don't have that on, you won't really notice a difference. You may notice a bit of a difference, but it really only applies to the audio on the maps that audio is in, and that has been one of my biggest issues this entire patch is the audio, because the audio on some maps is this, the audio on some maps is that. How are you supposed to, as a player, learn audio cues if it is different on every single map you go to?
Yeah. So hopefully it continues to improve. I use binaural, so that's probably why I noticed it right away. But that's to each their own. Go take the. I think is it Veritas that made the test on his YouTube channel. It's fun. I don't know if it's helpful necessarily, but it's a cool idea, and it definitely makes you feel, what's the word? It's like a placebo to make you happier about your sound choices. So go check that out. All right, let's get back. Quick updates. I want to know where everybody is in the world of Tarkov for you guys. We'll talk about what you're working on right now. Poro, level check. What level are you currently?
I am level 3.
Let's go! He downloaded the game over a month ago, and when I checked on him 2 days ago, he was still level 1. That's how scared this man was to enter the raid. So thanks for Godspeed for stepping in, but also like level 3, that's a huge come up, and that's the start of the process. Now get your gold pocket watch. I have the key. When you're ready to do it, you can let me know. We'll take you there.
Now, to be fair, one of those levels was gained by identifying items inside
Still
the shop.
counts.
So...
Still counts.
And that's why
Okay,
it's in the
well, thank
game,
you.
because they know level 1s are so terrified to go into the game that they give you a mini game so that is so boring that after you have discovered, after you've done all of these stupid middle mouse clicks, by the way, if you didn't know, you can press your middle mouse button instead of having to right click. Doing it.
That was huge.
Huge game changer.
Huge.
But you get so bored doing that, you're like, fuck it, I'm going into the game. It is genius in that context, irritating after your first wipe. What level are you right now, Bunny?
43.
43, my man.
Yeah.
I hit 36 this afternoon. I feel pretty good about it, but not as good as 43. That grind, man. Once you hit 33, it's like, pump the brakes. All right, number 2, KD. What's your KD right now, Poro?
1.
1. Hey.
There you go.
Positive is a positive. What do you got,
Killed
Fluff?
one scav and have not died.
I mean, that's huge.
It is
So KD in this game, remember, does count both PMC and scavs. Mine is sitting at like 5.44, if I remember correctly.
It's not bad. 4.06 over here. I don't fight PMCs as often. Sometimes I get away with that. Survival rate, Poro, 100%. I'm not even going to ask because I know.
Yep. 100%.
Right.
Right?
Big dog.
Take a picture.
Just retire.
That's going to go away, right?
Yeah, you can retire now.
All right, what do you have, Bunny?
Look at the
I'm only at
things, like
50%.
how many I've done.
50. I'm at 51. It's been a tough. This wipe's actually been harder for me than a lot of the other ones. Like normally I sit at 62 to 65. This has been brutal. All right, what is your total stash value? This one has completely no value. It's completely conjecture. It has no impact on how good you are at this game, but it's always fun to ask. So, Poro, do you know what your stash value is?
It was like, I think it was like just over 4 million.
Hey, That sounds nice.
That's good. That's
Which
good,
is-
actually.
I mean, I haven't lost anything
Yeah.
at all. So like whatever they give you to start off things, that's what I've got. And then I also got I picked up some stuff off of the raid. So
nice.
so yeah, so that's about what it is.
Bunny, what are you at?
95,756,992.
Damn it. I'm at 29.3, so you just kicked me in the dick. It's those cases. I'll bet you have like 2 scav boxes, 3. You're probably a 3 scav boxer if I don't miss my guess.
I was a 5.
A
I'm
5. And you used
So,
one. We used one for your
I used
scav
one.
box.
Exactly. So I did condense. I'm down to 2. So I have been condensing as I've gotten quests done, and I don't need as much stuff. So I'm down to 2. I have a thick items case, 3 weapons cases, a bunch of mag boxes, bunch of meds, bunch of food storage. I case it out.
Someone here found himself an in-raid LED X. You lucky son of a
Yes.
bee. The rest of us are out there on the hustle. All right, and I'll leave it with this. What quest are you working on right now, and do you hate your life? Poro.
Honestly, I the only thing I had was doing the Jaeger quest, and now I guess we'll look to see what's next. What do you guys recommend? What should be my next quest?
You just accept all of them, but
Yeah.
what you're going to do is go to customs and probably collect MP 133s, the food drops, and then Prapper's Pocket Watch is going to be the start of the chaos. And the idea is if you... Whoa. I think we lost the bun.
He just hopped right out of this, didn't
Yep.
he? Hey, there he is.
So
there we go.
I will say this, though. If you accept them all, because as you unlock them, they open up more trees, and that's the fastest way to level is the experience. A lot of new players don't quest. They just like, I'm going to learn the game, and that's cool. But you level so freaking slow if you do that, and that slows down your access to weapons and armor and ammo and all the other stuff. Fluff, what are you working on?
I am on the worst quest in the game right now, capturing Outpost.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
I
So
don't think
I
I've
have to
done
kill.
that one.
It's one of the newer ones. It is probably the community's least favorite quest. You have to go to a specific location on 3 different maps. So customs, I have to go to Fortress and kill 15 PMCs inside Fortress. I have to go to the issue is pier on shoreline. You have to kill 15 people at the pier, and nobody goes there. Like nobody has a reason to go there.
Gotcha. So you like that less than tour guide?
Tour guide's easy compared to
'cause
this.
you're good at the game. Fuck you. Okay, fair enough. The rest of us are like, fuck tour guide. That's hilarious. I just finished Spa Tour 1. Yes, I've been putting it off because I hate shotguns more than anything in the game. And I finished Spa Tour. And guess what I got to do now? Silence Caliber.
Caliber.
So, F me, right? So the answer is yes, I hate my life. Fletchette is far too expensive. And your FTX tip was good. It got me some headshots, but after that, now I'm just living in a world where I've got to flechette everyone, and I could give a flechette about it. All right, so that's about the time that we have for tonight. Before we sign out, Bunny, do you have any final thoughts, last words, tips, tricks, anything you want to give?
Honestly, just make sure you are enjoying the game. Just have fun. If you're not having fun, take a step back, come back to it. But just have fun. That's what it's all about. Tarkov is going to kick you a lot. And it's going to be a growing pain, but in the end, it is a great time.
It's worth it, but you're right. It's not other games, PUBG, I'll tell you, just get another game going. Just get another game going. You know what? Don't. Turn it off. Go play something simple. Relax. And come back tomorrow. Because sometimes all you need is 1 or 2 raids a day. Poro, any final thoughts?
I need to figure out that sound stuff, man. I'm used to feeling useless in fights, but not because of that. Not because I just can't figure out where anything is. Like if I miss shots, great, that's fine. I suck. I'm okay with that. But like, if I could just never get involved in the first place because there's just so much sound going on everywhere that I can't isolate where even to look, like that's a problem. So gonna work on that a little bit. Maybe take some different headphones into the online raids and just make a lot of noise and see if I can figure stuff out before heading back over there to continue on.
Okay. Also, keep in
I
mind.
will say, can I say one something to Poro real quick?
Yeah.
Poro, pick whichever one you like. Pick that one headphone and specifically use that one. Do not keep switching out headphones after you've decided on one, because it will really mess you up because they all have different sound profiles. So pick one and then just use it. And then once you're very, very comfortable, then you can start branching out a little bit.
Fair enough.
I would focus on the Comtac because it's buyable until you hit flea market, and then maybe flip to a Razer at the same price, a little bit of a better sound quality for those of us with old ears. But that's just a recommendation. And keep in mind also, that was just, you were in a 4-way thick boy fight. Everyone was thick, which means the sound is even more muffled and thumpy, for lack of a better description. Like, when people have more gear, things get more sloggy. So it was hard to hear, especially I've played with Godspeed. I know how much he moves and jumps and does his thing, and those guys are probably doing the same. What you missed was that they were doing some sort of crazy ballroom dance. You probably could have taught them a better way to do based on your experience, but sometimes you just can't hear it exactly right. Guys, that is it for our show. I do want to give you a reminder that you can find UnfluffyBunny at UnfluffyBunny. You can watch him over on Twitch and check out his stream. He's up all the time. Do you have a official? Is it every day, or what days do you take off?
The only days I really take off are Saturdays, but other than that, I am live usually by noon Eastern time, Monday through Friday, playing Tarkov and Apex Legends.
And then he comes here to hang out with us. Could not ask for more. And you can find us at kittedpodcast on websites, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere that you get your podcast. If you're watching the YouTube video, thank you. Please subscribe, but remember, this isn't even supposed to have cameras. Like, this is really just a talk show. So I would head over to Spotify, download it live, listen to it at work or at the gym, or like me, not at the gym. And it's what it's designed for. So hopefully we give you guys some good information, a chance to hang out, and until we see you back out there, good luck with your extractions.